Hello everyone, welcome to a very cloudy Sunday morning in North Yorkshire. If you've visited the channel before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm Paul. This is a pack, just as it says in the channel title. I normally post videos of the hikes that I've been on, the hikes that I go on, and the gear that I use, reviews of that, in the hope that the reviews of the gear will help people if they're thinking of purchasing the same item. The trail videos I post, I generally hope that people will enjoy watching them because there's some stunning scenery out there that you can only get to on two legs. And I also hope that they help people if they're thinking of doing that particular trail. Might give them an idea of what it's like and what to expect along the way. And I also hope that some of the trail videos do actually inspire people to get out there, maybe not even to do that trail, but to do something else outdoors. So if you're watching this video, thank you very much. The chances are that you might find something else on the channel interesting, so please go and have a look at the other videos on the channel. Consider subscribing. There's a lot of gear reviews on there, a lot of trail videos, so hopefully you might find something you like. Shameless channel plug over. Let's get into what this video is about, which is a long-term review of this backpack. It is the SWD, or Superior Wilderness Designs, Ultralight Long Haul 50. I purchased this pack just over 18 months ago now, and brand new from SWD in the USA. It's the only pack I've used during that time. I've used it for countless trips. It's been on the West Highland Way in Scotland. That was probably the first longish distance trip that I took it on, I think. It's been on the Cleveland Way in North Yorkshire. It's been on the World's Way in Yorkshire. It's been on probably 4 or 5 trips now to the Lake District, including the one I recently finished, which was the tour of the Lake District, which was absolutely stunning. Beautiful weather as well. More importantly, it's been on the GR11 with me, which was the crossing of the Pyrenees Mountains in Spain from coast to coast, about 500 and some miles roughly. So it's had a good deal of use. As I say, I've only used this pack now for 18 months. I've not used any other pack. It's always been this one when I've been out on trail. So I've got a good idea of how it performs and what it can and can't do. I would say, roughly speaking, it's maybe covered in that time 2,000 miles, maybe not quite, somewhere around that kind of ballpark. So I'm going to try and divide it up into segments. I'm sorry I've not scripted this. I generally don't script my videos, so I apologise for rambling. I do like a good ramble. But the first thing I know I'm going to dive into is waterproofing. So the pack doesn't come seam sealed from SWD as standard. I'm not certain if that is a service you can pay them to do for you. I can't remember. Your best bet for any information, up-to-date information on this backpack and other SWD ones is to visit the SWD website. If you have any specific questions from there, contact them. They are very good at answering emails. Sorry to drop you guys in it. You're probably going to get loads of emails now. I apologise. But no, they've always been really good with me and they've always answered my emails pretty quickly and really well. So, as I say, it doesn't come seam sealed as standard from SWD. I neglected to seam seal mine before I took it out on the GR11 across Spain, and I paid the price for that because at the time I wasn't using a pack liner either. I don't use a pack cover, I hate pack covers. I generally now use a pack liner. So, one particular day in the Basque Country, it absolutely belted it down with rain the entire day. All the time I was out walking. I did 20 plus miles, I believe, that day. And the pack, as expected, not being seam sealed, let water in. And quite a lot as well. So everything inside the pack, even though everything inside the pack was in bags as well, they still got soaked, they still got wet. So I learnt my lesson that day. After that, I carried some trash bags, and I started using trash bags inside the bag. I now use a big kind of, is it Nylofume pack liner, a big clear plastic sack. They're pretty hard wearing, they'll last for a while, and it's just another layer of redundancy. I also, when I got back from Spain, what I did was I took the frame, the stays out of the pack, the metal stays. You can basically undo these Velcros strips at the bottom here and pop out the metal frame. And I turned the pack inside out. It was easy after you'd taken the metal out. Turned the pack inside out, and I seam sealed the seams on the inside. The Ultra material. This is something I've been asked quite a lot about, and it's going to be quite difficult to show you on the camera. I do apologise. If I don't get it on this shot, I'll try and get it on another one. But obviously, the high wear areas, so it's a roll top pack, so whenever you're opening and closing it, you're doing that all the time. So this is the section that's going to get the most amount of use and wear, because you're doing that multiple times a day, basically, when you're out hiking and camping. So that is the bit that is kind of starting to delaminate first, and I wish I could show it properly. Where I've seam sealed it on the inside, down the seams, you can see it's kind of flaking, basically. Look, you can kind of pull it off, basically. I'll pop that in there so I'm not littering. And also, you won't be able to make it out. I'll try and get a closer shot with a different camera, but down the seams inside, you can see it's all flaking as well. I think that is the seam sealant that I've applied, not the actual material. But you will also notice the actual material. You can see the wear that it's getting. There is still some of the waterproofing on the inside there, but it is starting to degrade and delaminate. Also, on the inside of the pack, when you're constantly putting stuff in and out of the pack, it's obviously wearing on it and causing friction. So that is also starting to wear. Obviously, nothing's going to last forever, and I fully expected this material to be doing this. I don't think it's a manufacturing defect or anything like that. I think it's basically just the way that the laminated material performs over time. It's just something kind of like DCF, Dyneema. You'll notice if you've got a Dyneema tent, it looks all beautiful to start with, and then slowly over time it starts getting really crinkly, and it starts kind of like stretching a little bit and kind of even shrink. It almost looks like it shrinks in places. I have a couple of Dyneema DCF little pouches I use for putting my cook set in, and where the cook set has rubbed it on the top, it's kind of all worn and it's starting to wear through the DCF. So it is just a fact of the material that is going to happen on the inside. So no, not waterproof, very water resistant once you've got it all seam sealed. And obviously when you've got the top rolled down like that, you've got several layers of material that the water needs to get through from the top of the pack. And that's pretty much it for the waterproofing, I think. So I opted for Ultra 200 and 400 on mine. The side pockets are the Ultra 400. If you want to see the specs of the pack and all the information, I did cover it in the previous videos that I've done. I've done 2 of the videos on this pack. The overview when I first got it, and then a first impressions video after I'd hiked the West Highland Way with it. So please go and check them out if you haven't seen them already on the channel. But the side pockets are made from Ultra 400 material, and the base is also Ultra 400 because obviously it's a high wear area. And then the main body is Ultra 200. I believe you could choose the Ultra 100 version, but I wanted a little bit more wear. wear resistance. So let's have a look. You can see I'm a sweaty guy. And there's basically these white marks down here are basically sweat marks, and the salt and things like that. But you can see this is the padded area here, and the hip belt. There's no wear on there whatsoever. You know, very, very minimal wear. Even on this back panel, minimal wear, some staining. There is a foam panel in there as well. The outer, there's no tears or rips or anything. Yes, there's some discoloration because I fell over quite a few times recently with it on. That's where all the mud's come from on the bottom. Again, there is no damage, any tears or rips to the Ultra on the bottom there. Again, that is where I took a really silly tumble this last time in France, in the Alps, on the mud. And then the main body of the pack, it just still looks almost brand new. It's held up so well, and it's not like I've been careful with it either. I've thrown this pack around a lot. It's been a lot of public transport where it gets hoofed on and off luggage racks and things like that. It's scraped past stones and boulders and rocks. It's gone bushwhacking through trees and forests, caught on things, and still no rips or tears. So I'm really impressed with the durability of the outer material. Having had a DCF pack in the past, I'm not sure that DCF would have stood up to the same amount of abuse that I've put this through. The mesh material on this outer stretchy pocket, it's got a couple of little snags in it, and it's maybe lost some of its stretchiness, if you kind of know what I mean. It's kind of not as new as it once was, obviously, but I'll come back to that material because that's one of the things I want to mention at the end of the video. So as I say, this is the Ultralight Long Haul 50. Most of the time, 90% of the time, this pack has been plenty big enough for my requirements, for my needs. There has been a couple of times when I've had a bit more gear with me, a bit more cold weather gear, or I've been on a longer food carry, and I've just wished there was maybe another 5 or 10 litres space. But for my trips that I do and for my style of hiking, this is pretty much the sweet spot for me, size-wise. Load carrying capacity, I can't remember what SWD rate this at. I generally don't weigh my pack, but I know I have had over 30 pounds in this, and it's carried like a dream. Today, hiking up here, I've hiked up about 7 or 8 miles into the forest to do this video, and I weighted the pack with some dumbbells just because I felt like it. So I've had about 27 pounds in it today, hiking up here, and after the first mile, I could hardly feel the pack on my shoulders. It carries so well. It carries the best out of any pack that I've ever used. That is the load carrying done. So any issues with the pack? I've got 2 small issues with it, and they are only small issues. The first one is this material I said about I would come back to earlier. I'm not a big fan of whatever material this is on this outer pocket. The top is elasticated, but the actual material itself isn't really all that stretchy. Now, I usually use this outer pocket for carrying my drone in, and it does fit in there really well, actually. It's perfect for that purpose. I get my waterproof in the bottom, and I get the drone and with all its gubbins and bits and bobs in there as well. But I'd just like to see that, a different material, and I think, again, please don't quote me, but I think they actually offer 2 different types of material now on the website. So that's worth checking out. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that material. And the other thing is, again, it's only a small complaint. On the accessory hooks, straps that you get with the pack, oh, excuse me, you get these plastic gatekeeper clips with the little metal gates on. And one thing I have noticed is they can quite easily just pop open. I was finding that happening quite a bit when I was using two straps on the bottom, and I had either a sleeping mat or a tent strapped to the bottom of the pack. So when you put your bag down like that, because you've got all the weight of your bag going down onto whatever it is you've got strapped on the bottom, I was finding that the gatekeeper clips were popping open. I don't carry my tent on the bottom of the pack anymore because of that reason. And also, if you're putting your pack down like that, you don't want to be risking damaging your tent by anything sticking into it from the floor or having all that weight on top of it. So I generally now carry my tent in the side pocket there vertically, and these accessory straps do a good job of just cinching that down. So do I have any regrets about purchasing this pack? No, none whatsoever. I'll be completely honest, if I was to buy another pack, if this one failed tomorrow and I had to buy another pack, I would 99% certain order another SWD pack, because the carrying comfort of your pack when you're out on a long hike is something that you don't want to chance. And if I know something is working well for me, I don't want to change that. So this works really well for me. I find it supremely comfortable, and yes, I would buy another one. If anybody's just wondering what all these little bits hanging onto it are, this isn't an SWD thing, this is something I've added myself. It's a flat mesh zipper pouch from Garage Grown Gear, and what I use that for is I put my Sawyer squeeze in that and a Nock Vector water carrier. They fit in there perfectly, and then I'm not having to dig around in my pack for water filtration. When I stop, I can just straight away get to it really easy. These accessory straps come from SWD. They are pretty universal because you've got these little attachments here on the sides that they just slot into. There's some on the side, one there and one there, another one at the top there. There's some on the bottom of the pack, and I think there's even some on the top as well. And they're just really handy for cinching down any side loads, especially I've found when you're on public transport or you're travelling, so you're not having like your tent or your trekking poles, whatever it is you've got in the side pockets, they're not going to be flopping about, they're cinched down and secured. If you don't want to use them when you're out on trail, you can literally whip them off, and as long as you've opted for this top zip pocket, which I find extremely useful, you can just pop them in there, or in the bottom of your pack if you're not going to use them during the trip. Nice and easy. This is the SWD water bottle holder, the Ultra version. That's done really well, carries a big bottle in there. Again, that just clips in with little slick clips onto the webbing. And then this is the Hyperlight Mountain Gear shoulder pocket in Dyneema. I've used this for ages now, probably 2 or 3 years. It's a really, really good item. I've got a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, and that fits in there perfectly. Never had a problem with water getting in, unless I've left it open like an idiot. But yeah, that's a nice little thing. And then on the hip belt, on the waist belt, you've got these attachments where you can, if you want, attach pockets. Or what I've done, I now use a Hyperlight Mountain Gear Versa fanny pack, which works really well for my needs because I can fit my camera in there and everything. So that's the accessories that I use with it. If anybody has any specific questions on certain things about the pack, please do drop them in the comments. There's always something I forget to mention. There's always something that somebody wants to know that I haven't covered in the video. So please do drop them in the comments. If I can't answer it, then somebody else out there may be able to. So that is probably going to be everything, guys. Thank you for watching. As usual, take care of yourselves and happy trails.